everyone, I'm Tasha from Tasha Quilts, and today I want to tell you about my very first quilt show. A couple of weeks ago, I hung my quilts in a quilt show and I was extremely nervous. I almost backed out, but I'm so glad that I stayed in. So stick with me so you can hear about my thoughts, see some videos from the quilt show, and tell me below, have you ever had your quilts in a quilt show? So this quilt show was put on by the local quilt guild that I'm a part of, and I had 3 pieces hanging in the quilt show. The first was a small quilt that was done for the Circle Challenge. This is the Poppy quilt block, and this was a pattern by Cotton and Bourbon. This was a great skill builder for me, and I really loved this pattern. The second quilt I had hanging in the quilt show was La Fin de Monde. That pattern is by Libs Elliott, and I really love this quilt. And the third quilt I had hanging in the show was my very first quilt pattern that I wrote and released out into the world, and it was called Blooming Blades. So I was extremely excited to put these quilts out there, but they also all mean a lot to me for different reasons. Each one of these quilts taught me something new. I completely quilted the Blooming Blades and the Poppy quilt myself, and I sent the La Fin de Monde out to a long armor because it was so big. So I was extremely nervous to kind of show those off to the world and see how they'd be received, especially because the Blooming Blades quilt I quilted on my smaller domestic machine, and some of it, there was a couple pleats in the quilting, which I actually really love as like a user of the quilt, but I was just a little embarrassed about hanging them. And I'm so glad that I put that fear behind me because it worked out great. And the other thing I was really nervous about for the show was the sleeves, because I wasn't sure exactly how to do the quilt sleeves. But I reached out to some members of the guild and they were like, just make the sleeves and pin them on and it'll be great. And it worked out fine. So my takeaway from that point of view is if you're nervous about something, just ask somebody who's done it before. Like, why recreate the wheel? Just ask your friends. There were so many different types of quilts on display. It was truly unbelievable. There is so much talent out of this quilt guild. It was stunning. And you kind of see little bits at the meetings of the show and tell, but to see this entire quilt show, which I think they said there was about 150 quilts hanging in the show, seeing all the different talent from a wide variety of styles and tastes and color selections and pattern layouts and people's interpretation of different quilted items. It was unbelievable. There's just so much talent. It was so much fun to walk around and kind of just take it all in. My parents actually joined me in the morning to go to the quilt show. So here I am, 39 years old, and my mom and dad came with me. And it was really fun also walking around with them because neither of them are quilters. So hearing what they liked and what they didn't like was very interesting because none of our styles really aligned. Some of the things they didn't like were things that I loved, and kind of vice versa. So it was really interesting to see what everybody thought about the different patterns, fabrics, and colors. It was really fun walking around with them and just chatting with them about the quilts that we were seeing. After school, my husband and my 2 kids came with me to the quilt show, and there was no doubt in anybody's mind what my son's favorite quilts would be. They were these Minecraft quilts, and he absolutely loved them. So maybe I'll be making a Minecraft quilt in my future. Maybe. I'm not sure. Here, I'm just going to put in some footage of some of the quilts I saw. Unfortunately, I couldn't get all of the tags. I was kind of in a hurry and juggling things, but here's just some footage of some of the amazing quilts that were there. I know I didn't capture them all, but here's a taste of all the wonderful quilts. after going to this art show, it really kind of solidified for me that quilting really is art, right? This was an art show. So a lot of people ask me, what is a quilt show? And are you listing your quilts for sale? And I'm like, no, it's literally like a museum exhibit. It's just, art on display. So it was really fun seeing all my quilts on display. I had a great time. Now, this was, like I said, a show through my local quilt guild. Shout out Thumbstall Quilt Guilds. And there were no like judging. So there wasn't like a panel of judges judging and giving out ribbons, but they did have little ballads that everybody who got admission to could write your number down in certain categories to vote. So there were some ribbons given out. I didn't win, but I'm coming for you guys in a couple of years when you do the quilt show again. What did I learn? My quilts were good enough. No matter what I thought about in my head, they were good enough. Not one person said, oh, did you see these stitching on these quilts to anybody? Everybody just loves seeing them. It was just everybody has different tastes and styles. My quilts, they're good enough. And so are yours. My kids were also so proud to see their mom's quilts hanging up. They were running around trying to find my quilts, and they were so excited when they found them. So it was wonderful showing my kids that, I have a hobby and it's on display, and to see them kind of proud of me, kind of like I am proud of them when I go to their school open house, right? So that was great. And so if you have the chance, I would highly recommend it. And like I said, I didn't win, but I did learn the lesson that now I have the taste that I would like to win. So I'm really excited to create some more beautiful quilts over the next couple of years and get to hang them on display for the next quilt show and see if I can get myself one of those ribbons. Final thoughts are, first, I want to again shout out to all the amazing women at the Thumbstall Quilt Guild. And I did see some of your husbands there setting up that quilt show. It was unbelievable seeing what you all did on Wednesday when I dropped my quilt off to Friday morning when I showed up to see my quilt. The room was completely transformed. All of the raffles, all of the silent auction items, all of the displays, the booths. It truly unbelievable. You are all so very talented, and I hope that you know that and appreciate that, because it was amazing. And if you made it this far, if you would like and subscribe to this video or to my channel, I would really, really appreciate it. And I am going live every Thursday at 9, so don't forget to tune in. And I hope that you will feel empowered to join your local quilt guild and hang your quilts in a quilt show. It is truly an amazing experience that you can't get online. And so if you have the chance, join that local quilt guild and get out there and enjoy your quilting. Okay, bye.